we're kind of tight on time. I want to go to Kim, and I want to talk to you about what do you feel was your big transformative moment for at Wet Wed?
Well, as we were talking about in the model shop, the original Imagineers, all those people that Kevin pointed out in that picture, they did not sit up in offices anywhere. They all worked down in the model shop right along with us. They spent all of their time down there because they like to see their designs created into 3D. That was how they liked to design instead of on flat paper. So we would all sit working on those big tables together, and Hench and Mark Davis and Mary and Claude and all of them would be working right along with us and telling us all the different tribal knowledge, those philosophies behind how Disneyland was built, or how a ride was put together, or why something should be this way. And it was just, I don't think we even knew at that time that we were gleaning all of these amazing stories and all of these amazing facts and the different formulas behind how to design. And so I went on to mentor quite a few years with John Hench, which was transforming for me because to me he was the quintessential Disney designer, and anyone who has not read his book really needs to if they want to become an Imagineer. Designing Disney by John Hench and Peggy Van Pelt, because it really outlines all of the things that create a Disneyland and create a Disney product. And then I think when Marty and Orlando and John asked me to go down and lead a team of designers at Disneyland while the rest of the company was going to take care of designing Tokyo and going on to do new parks, they asked me to open up a new WDI Anaheim office and just concentrate on the care and feeding of their firstborn while they were going off to work on other projects. And that was in 1981, and we still have that wonderful department down there that I lead. I'm very proud of that.
And you had the opportunity to redo the Madame Leota.
Oh, that's right. Well, Steve Davison has a lot to do with this. Mom is Madame Leota, and I remember when I was just a teenager, her coming home from work and telling me step by step about this whole process of, Blaine putting the goo on her face to make the life mask and the makeup that she had to put on, and they all took her out to lunch with her makeup on afterwards. They were real characters, really. They had so much fun, as we did in Model Shop as well. And so I've always been so proud of the fact that Mom was Madame Leota. But moving forward, Steve came when we were working on the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, and Mom had passed away just a couple years before that. And he said, Kim, we're going to redo the incantation to go, with the story of Nightmare Before Christmas. And we could hire an actress to be Madame Leota, or you could do it. And I was very shy, as I told you. I said, oh, I don't know if I want to do that, but I don't want anyone else to do it either. So I did, and we went through exactly the same process. It was so funny to me because doing the life mask, our wizards, John Britz and John Whitesbeck in my office down there at Disneyland, did the whole life mask process, and Leslie Turnbull did all my music, or my makeup, and I just kept thinking, Mom, I'm doing this just like you did. And when we got to the point, I remember she complained that Gracie tied her hair to the chair so she wouldn't move her head when she was doing the incantation. And luckily, Steve had made up a chair with a little vise on it, so I didn't have to have my hair tied to the chair.
That's great. We hate to cut you off, but we're running out of time. I want to, because everybody, I'm feeling the pressure because we're gonna all get kicked out pretty soon. I love this story, and we've all seen, we've seen this wonderful your face there. So I want to give everybody enough time. But I want to go to Steve now. And Steve, tell me a little bit about what your transformative moment was for getting your first experience.
I mean, I think the biggest thing was, so I got into creative development through entertainment, and we started to look at ways to relook at Christmas, and we started to play with this idea about come home for the holidays. And one of the crazy ideas was, well, what if we took Small World and put a Christmas overlay into it, or a holiday overlay? and took what was created for the 64 World's Fair and now do a ride through that now celebrated what happens in wintertime. And we worked with Kim and Tony and the whole gang and really created this fantastic, terrifying thing, because that's when the internet was hitting. And so people heard that we were doing this overlay for Christmas, and you were getting like, it's going to be horrible, what are they doing to our ride? And I'm like, oh, I'm just having a good time. And the minute the lights turned on, and you can see it in the photo, you knew it was like Oz. You came around the corner and Small World was ablaze with 80,000 light bulbs. And kids went inside of it, adults went inside of it, and it really helped to do two things. It had adults reliving the ride again, and kids experience it in a whole new way. And then the crazy idea to do Haunted Mansion was just that. I was walking with Tony and Kim, and Tony said, I've always wanted to do, I think it was Scrooge inside, with the ghost coming to life. And it stuck with me. I said, ooh, Christmas in the Haunted Mansion, that's a crazy idea. Because nobody else can do it. No one else, no other theme park, no one else in the world could do Christmas at the Haunted Mansion. And Tim Burton's property wasn't that hot back then. It took 3 years to sell that. And trust me, the internet was ablaze again. What are they doing to our ride? Because people really own them. They come to Disneyland, they love it, and then we put a spin on it. Great thing, 13 years later, it's still going strong. 14 years, come back. So I think the biggest thing for me is fireworks. Fireworks have always been beautiful at Disneyland. I think Richard Sherman said it best. It is the kiss goodnight. It's what Walt always said was going to be that final thing that we leave you with. And in 1999, they said, will you do a fireworks show for us? And I said, well, I know nothing about fireworks. And they said, great, we don't want a fireworks show, we want a story in the sky. And I said, great. So we went and looked at fireworks shows, I looked at fireworks as actors, and then we brought them to life in a brand new way. And literally overnight changed the way fireworks were being done around the world. The Olympics started calling, we worked on the Salt Lake Olympics, and then it just kept getting bigger, with the 50th anniversary celebration with Remember, and now with Disneyland Forever that we just opened. It's about exactly what you guys have always talked about. Always doing more, pushing more. How far can we take it without, and telling that story. We're storytellers. And it's tricky now. It's really tough. It's really tough, but we keep going. We have a great time.
Great. And Kevin, we will like to hear your stories.
That was a good segue, Stephen, to the whole storytelling thing. Because as an art major, I wanted to be an animator. I thought to be an animator, you got to be an amazing artist. But you really have to be a storyteller. I didn't know that then. And so, the funny thing is that for 30 years before I became a creative director, I was actually a show writer. I spent most of my career as a writer. I didn't even know I could write until I realized that I was a story person. And I think the break that came for me was kind of twofold. Two things that started in Florida, which actually made their way to the Disneyland Resort. And one is, as a hobby, as a kid, I used to love to write songs. I can't read music, but I used to just love to record songs and write songs. And when I wrote It's Tough to Be a Bug Show, I wrote the finale song again. We're pollinators. If you like vegetables, fresh fruit and flowers, I'm not gonna do the whole thing, there's fine. But then I realized the big change was, hey, I can actually write songs for the parks, which I've written a bunch of them since then. But the other big breakthrough was kind of really realizing that storytelling thing when I created the story and the concept story and the name for the Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and pitched it to Marty. And I remember Marty and I in a group went over, and I got to pitch it to Michael Eisner and Frank Wells at the time. And Michael said, Frank, what do you think of the Twilight Zone? And Frank said, Michael, are you kidding? It's timeless. They have weekend marathons. Everybody loves the Twilight Zone. And Michael said, okay, great, home run. And I whispered over to Marty and I said, what does that mean? And Marty says, we're doing this ride. There's this attraction. Marty would never say ride, he said attraction. We're doing this attraction. So that was the turning point. It's like, wow, I can come up with ideas and we can get a team together and we can actually build these. It's amazing.
That's